gentleman came to me, lovely guy, and he said, I'm really behind with my property income, declaring it on my tax return. Actually, really behind was an understatement. He basically never declared any of it. And he had his tail between his legs, being caught by the revenue. And he needed that support from someone who was going to pick him up and help him solve the problem, deal with the revenue, get as low a penalty regime as we could go for, and just really deal with it in a professional manner. And he's remained with me as a client. And every year we have a little giggle about how horrendous it was that he'd left all of these taxes and he's gradually paying it off. So I always feel that that's really satisfying because the clients still see me every year. They're doing their taxes on time. They don't understand why they never got me in the first place. And really, it's a success story for the fact that he had as low penalties as he possibly could have gone with. And he now knows that it's not something that he's got to look over his shoulder for. It's all been declared. And that's been really rewarding.
So this is the Stronger Business Together podcast, where owners learn from each other. No theory, no gurus, just real journeys and overcoming real hurdles. Today, I'm joined by Holly Siddall, who runs iLex Accounting Services. And like any business owner, she's in that middle of building things, fixing things, and growing something that really matters to her. So Holly, welcome.
Hi, nice to see you.
Pleasure. And you and I know each other through networking, so that's how we've come together on the podcast. So really excited to have you on board. So let's do Act 1 now, your business. Well, we can probably guess from the title, but in plain English, what does your business do?
Accountancy services, all things accountancy related. So that can be the annual accounts, corporation tax returns, personal tax returns, bookkeeping, CIS, payroll, VAT, tax planning, management accounts. Yeah, the list goes on.
Brilliant. So that could be a whole range of people that need those type of services. So who do you love helping and what are they typically dealing with?
Mainly small businesses, either startup companies, one-man bands, businesses with a couple of directors, really a variety. And we've got clients that have got millions of pounds worth of turnover, but the majority of our clients will be small, medium-sized businesses. And I get the best return from those. I get the best reward, which is just satisfaction. That's the bit that I work for. I just want to do the job to be satisfied, the client's happy, and they're tax efficient as best they can be.
Fantastic. And why would a small business owner want to then come knocking on your door and need that help?
Well, mainly peace of mind. I think a lot of people find nowadays that the tax legislation changes. HMRC is topic of conversation for most business owners. So for me, it's been giving people the reassurance that using a professional will allow them to sleep at night. I get that comment quite a lot. So, allowing people to sleep at night, get on with what they can do, what they do properly, their profession, and allow us to do the tax side of things and stay all legal and above board.
Excellent. Yeah, no, that's really good. That's such an important thing, peace of mind for a business owner, especially around the tax man. So tell us, when did the business start? What was that original spark?
Oh, okay. So this one's great. And you know this, Granger, because I will have mentioned this before. So it was many, many moons ago. 18, 19, 20 years ago. Okay. And I started as a bookkeeper and I loved bookkeeping. I used to go in and sit with clients, go into their offices and update their books on a weekly, monthly basis. Really enjoyed it, but found that actually the clients didn't get on very well with their accountants. And after a very unpleasant conversation with an accountant in their office one day, where I was shuffled out into reception and told I was just the bookkeeper and they weren't sure why I was here, I decided rather than complain, I would go and do ACCA, my qualification, and I would become an accountant myself and treat clients better than that client was being treated by their accountant. So it kind of started really from Bookkeeping Up. And I've never looked back. I've enjoyed every minute of it. It's been brilliant. Well, not every minute of it. There's been moments, but most of the time it's brilliant. Let's be honest.
Yes. So when did iLex then start up? When was that?
2007. So yeah, coming up for 19 years now. So it's been a long time. Last year we celebrated being able to drink alcohol. Not sure how a company can drink alcohol, but its owner definitely could. So yeah, so we've had some milestones along the way, and it's shaped itself in lots of different fashions. But now it's been a comfortable, growing practice for the last 8 or 9 years now. Based in Maysmore, beautiful new office that we've got, and yeah, we're enjoying it. We've got a cracking team, and a lot of them have been with me for a long, long time. A lot of them, I think, are feeling like they're never going to be able to retire.
So how big is the team now?
9 of us in total. So yeah, nine of us, mostly, well, a combination of in-house at the office, so office-based staff, and remote-based staff, both in the UK and outside of the UK. We actually have our back office managed by a lady in the Philippines, and she's been with me for 2.5 years now, and she's super organised. And as you can imagine, in the world of accountancy, back office is really quite, yeah, nitty gritty. There's lots of paperwork, even though a lot of it's electronic nowadays. And she manages all of that from the Philippines for us. So that was a great new addition to the team 2 years ago. And yeah, there's 9 in total, hoping to be 10 at some point.
Fantastic. So why do customers, pick you? How do you delight them? Why do they keep coming back?
We get a lot of recommendations. It's sometimes difficult to remember which client came from where. I try and keep a little bit of a track record, like a recommendation list. But we've got clients that have come to us from other clients who then introduced family, and the web gets bigger and bigger. So there's been a large amount of recommendation, which I'm super proud of, because that's the cheapest way to build your business, is just to do a good job. And naturally, that will mean that more clients will come to you. But more recently, I've done some work on social media and SEO. So that's brought clients forward. Lots of great reviews on our website, Google reviews, they're always really good. But most of the time clients will say, we've been recommended to you because you're going to make me sleep at night, or you're going to help me to get rid of this problem that I've got, or I don't know when I need to pay tax. I'm paying too much. Everybody thinks they're paying too much tax. So yeah, so that's our role, is to kind of take them on board and make them feel a bit better about what they have to do. At the end of the day, I'm a tax collector. I don't like thinking that that's my job. But if I can make the person who I'm working for feel more at ease, then that's my delight. That's what I like to do for people. Pay the right amount of tax, and pay it within time, feeling in control.
Lovely. Yes. Yeah, no, I really like that, and understanding of that need that we all have to feel comfortable with the right amount of tax that we should pay. Yes,
Yeah.
because everyone's always arguing about it and looking for ways, aren't they? But anyway, tell me about a customer success that you're really proud of.
Oh gosh, there's been so many. One particular success, which started as a not a particularly nice initial introduction. Gentleman came to me, lovely guy, and he said, I'm really behind with my property income, declaring it on my tax return. Actually, really behind was an understatement. He basically never declared any of it. And he had his tail between his legs. He felt terrible. He'd been caught by the revenue, and he needed that support from someone who was going to pick him up and help him solve the problem, deal with the revenue, get as low a penalty regime as we could go for, and just really deal with it in a professional manner. Now, that was 3 or 4 years ago now, and he's remained with me as a client. And every year we have a little giggle about how horrendous it was that he'd left all of these taxes, and he's gradually paying it off. He's got a very good payment plan, and we've actually got a really good outcome from it. So I always feel that that's really satisfying, because the client's still seeing me every year. They're doing their taxes on time. They don't understand why they never got me in the first place. And really, it's a success story for the fact that he had as low penalties as he possibly could have gone with. And he now knows that it's not something that he's got to look over his shoulder for. It's all been declared. And that's been really rewarding. So it's not just the nice clients that come forward and say, I've got a set of accounts that I need doing, or I'm starting a new business. There are some horror stories that we also take on, which some other accountants may not want to touch. And in that case, this one was particularly rewarding. And yeah, I got to work with the client really closely. I really enjoyed it.
Fantastic. Yeah, beautiful story, and yeah, a lovely way to show that what you're about is drilling down into those difficult ones, but caring about the individual so they can get the success that they need. I don't say the word want because, as I said, we always want a different outcome with tax, but there's a definite need that we have to sort out. Brilliant. So what are you aiming for iLex to be like in the next 12 months, and why?
I think we're still settling into the new office and we've got lots of space. We've got a beautiful big meeting room, which we're starting to encourage our clients to come and use when we're not using it. I would like to see growth. Every year I strive to try and grow the business. Ideally not too much, because I like to grow in an organic fashion as best I can, and at the speed of team. I'd like to add the additional staff member, number 10. We are in need of, and it is a struggle at the moment. It's been a struggle to find somebody. But with that additional person, then the next stage of growth can come forward. But we've got the space, we've got the systems. It's all there ready to take to the next level. And I'm quite satisfied with the growth we've had recently. But, a little bit more or same again for this year would be superb. Keeps me happy, keeps me occupied.
Lovely, lovely. I can really see that. You and I have been networking for a while, and I've seen what you've done and achieved. So yeah, I can definitely see how that will happen with that steady growth coming forward. So let's move on to Act 2 now, the journey, how you became who you are today. So, running a business over the last few years, there are always highs and lows. What have been some of the highs and lows for you?
Well, highs is nice and easy. Meeting certain targets in turnover, networking. I became a Rotarian, and that's opened my eyes to lots of charity work, which has been wonderful. The business has got to a stage where I can step away and do a little bit of extra work outside. So whether it be as a Rotarian, I'm a trustee of Chamwell Centre. So that's been really nice. That's very rewarding to be able to think that you can take time out of work to be able to do things like that. But yeah, I think that the new office has been an absolute delight. I mean, I have to mention the ducks, because otherwise Katie will be furious with me. But we've moved to the office. It's given the staff kind of a breath of fresh air, literally, because we're in the countryside. So to be able to get the business to a stage where it can afford to take on such a nice office in such a lovely location, I think is a great reward. And even if it makes Katie happy because she gets to go and see the ducks on the pond every lunchtime, that's great. I'm making my team happy. So that's wonderful. The lows, I don't really know whether we've had much in the way of lows. I've had lows over the years, but in the last 2 or 3 years, we've not had very many. We've had a few clients that might have to leave, mainly because they're pushed. If they don't fit with my ways, and I don't like the way they do business anymore, they get shuffled along. That's not pleasant. I suppose I always think I can make somebody better, help them to be better within themselves and within their business, and that doesn't always work. And I do feel like sometimes it's a bit of a failure. But other than that, everything seemed to have gone really well. There's been highs and lows in the past, as I say, but really, realistically, recently, everything's been going swimmingly. Other than staff, let's just say recruitment's been very difficult. The team I've got are absolutely superb. I'd love a cloning machine. I'd like to clone them all. I'd like many, many, many Katies and Sarahs and Jackies and Liz's and Lou's and everyone. I'd like to clone them all. But we are recruiting, and that's a huge problem at the moment is
Yeah.
recruiting.
And that's going to be our discussions in the hurdle round. But you have to make decisions in businesses. Sometimes they're gambles. Sometimes we've got some understanding of what we do. But what's one or two decisions that you've made over the years that have changed the trajectory of your business?
Probably software related. I think adopting different softwares within the company has always been a challenge, but it's making us more efficient. Paperless. That was one of the first hurdles many years ago. Getting all our clients onto different softwares like QuickBooks and Xero, that's always a challenge. But the main one for me was my CRM system. So 8 years ago, introducing a client portal, quite new and unheard of. Quite new, let's just say that. It wasn't unheard of, but it was very new to the market, the one that I adopted. And that's allowed us to do our workflow. And really that's allowed us to be able to grow as efficiently as we have. So systems is something I'm super proud of. I love systems. And it just things like emails, being able to file everything, the staff being able to see the conversations that have been had outside of the office between clients and staff members, and having that access at your fingertips, no matter what time of the day or night you're working, you can see what's been happening behind the scenes. Yeah, it's great. Systems is been a huge achievement.
Fantastic. Yeah, really can see that and understand how getting the right type of technology and system control can actually help any business. And you've just demonstrated that beautifully. Thank you for that share. I mean, leads are really important in any business. Leads then potentially turn into sales opportunities after that. But what's one lead gen approach that's maybe surprised you, either good or bad?
During whilst networking, whilst being part of the BNI network, I met a wonderful guy, Granger, and he runs an SEO business. And I've dabbled in it previously, many moons ago, but we decided that we would invest in some SEO. And we weren't getting many leads off of our website. And the SEO, within 3 months, we noticed an increase. I thought, this is good. Quite impressed by this. 6 months, 9 months, it's just constant. The leads coming through from the website are now 3 or 4 a week, and it's overtaken, word of mouth. It's overtaken any responses we get from social media. It's been a superb success story, a great investment, and shocked me.
Wow, brilliant. Yes, and for all those people out there, that's John Anderson at SEO Results. So yeah, fantastic. And you've probably changed what you've maybe sold over the years. You've brought in new things, changed things here. What's changed in your product range over the years?
The odd few things, but obviously the basics are still there. But people tend to want more management accounts now. They want to keep an eye on their bottom line. They want their finger on the pulse, as they say. They want to know how much their tax is going to be at the end of the year, rather than having a shock. So we are doing a lot more management accounts for clients. And we're doing a lot of training at the moment. We've got Making Tax Digital for ITSA, which is the self-employed people having to go onto software. And we did have a handful of clients that still weren't on software. So there's been, a good chunk of additional work needed to do there, which again is training. And that's not something we offered initially, because we used to actually do the bookkeeping ourselves. Clients want to be more self-sufficient nowadays, and it saves them money, obviously. If they can do it themselves or ask one of their family members to do the work for them, then it does cut costs down. So yeah, there's been a few little additions that have been added on.
And things get under pressure. There are times within an accounting practice, the infamous January period where the pressure really piles on. But what do you do within the business to keep the business healthy and the team focused and working together?
During our busy period, we tend to try and support each other as best we can. I would say that the team will be quite sensitive towards the fact that the accountants are up to their eyeballs. I would love to say that we have more social events or letting our hair down more often, but actually we just work solidly right the way through. Every single year we say the same thing. Next year it's going to be better. Next year we're going to chase clients earlier. And I wonder why the team say that, because they're so super efficient anyway. It isn't actually us that causes the busyness of January, it's actually the clients. But yeah, we're a super supportive team. We do some well-being. We go for walks. I know Terry, who's in our network group, she comes and meets with the staff each month and takes them out for a walk. We're in the countryside, so the walks are now super beautiful. And that allows them to just walk away from the computer for a bit. Making sure people have lunch break is really difficult. When you've got a really dedicated team, they don't want a lunch break, but they need a lunch break. And I try and encourage them to get up, go for a walk, just go walk around the block, even if it's really cold or snowing. Not that we've had snow this year, but if it's really chilly, wrap up warm and go for a walk. But yeah, our admin team really do step up during the busy period. And then afterwards, we have a very late Christmas party. We either have one very early in the year, i.e. October, or we will do some sort of celebration later on once we've got through that busy period.
Brilliant. I like all that. And I love the real care and attention you have for your staff and helping them to realise that breaks are so important, to get the eyeballs away from the screen, let the brain go and see the trees moving and really that break that you need to come back refreshed, ready to keep going, especially during those really busy periods. So that's wonderful. Act 3, our hurdle round. So what have you brought for us to have a conversation about today?
Oh, it's going to have to be recruitment. I
Okay.
really, really struggle with recruitment. It's got to be, how do you find the right staff member to join your team?
Yeah. So, all right. So give us an understanding where we are today. So why do you say you're struggling? What's happened recently?
So early last year, we had a new team member join and wasn't suitable. We then recruited another lady who also wasn't suitable. And we then decided, so that was last year. This year, we took on another person and he wasn't suitable either. And the track record goes that the CV says one thing and the person is
Mm,
actually somebody completely different. And with two of these candidates, they come from a recruitment agency. So I don't know whether I'm just struggling to find the right recruitment agency, but the job description is quite clear in what we're looking for. The CVs come through and match beautifully. In most cases, these people have interviewed well, otherwise I wouldn't have offered them a job. But then I seem to get slightly further down the line and find that they're not able to actually do what we've asked them to do.
Is that
So
in
yeah.
terms of skill or the people coordination or fitting into the team?
Mm. Mainly the skills. I think it's mainly a skill thing, but unfortunately with the last person, they couldn't get the work done, which is really disappointing. And it's quite obvious to such a small team. If someone's not pulling their weight, then if the work's not being done and we've got an additional team member, then we are going to see quite clearly that there's a problem. So
Yeah.
we've discovered that there's been people that think that they can just come and stick their feet up on a desk. They weren't
Wow.
working, let's put it that way.
Wow. I know they're actually
No.
experienced people. So
Yeah, no,
yeah,
we've had,
fantastic.
well,
Yeah.
as you know, it's just finding the right
So
person that can actually do the work.
okay, let's take with the last recruitment round that you did. Okay, take us through the steps. What are the steps you went through to do the recruitment?
So the first thing we did was obviously build the job description, update it because it was one from last year, and fire it out to social media, recruitment agencies, and try and get as many CVs through the door as possible. I've tried some of the online platforms like Indeed. I get probably 700 people apply through Indeed and very rarely find anything that's come through. Well, most people aren't even in the same town, which is really quite frustrating because it's not a remote job. It's actually a job that's going to be in the office. So once the CVs have come in and they've been checked by the team before they come anywhere near me, we'll then involve HR. Myself and my HR consultant will go through the CVs and whittle them down to who we want to interview. Person will come in for an interview, and it's either, as you will always say, Granger, it's either a hell yes or a hell no. I
Yep.
think my hell yeses are a bit broken, but it really has come down to the fact that we've done all sorts. We've done tests with people. We've done multiple interviews. We've had other team members interview. We've tried all sorts. I just don't seem to get the right candidates, I feel.
Mm. So you've tried testing. Did you do testing in the last round of this individual that came in? No. Okay.
So this last individual was very highly qualified on paper, and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
2 weeks with me, if I had done a test, I think that would have stopped me from employing from what we've
Yeah.
discovered. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was a real shame that I didn't do that element of the interview stage.
So maybe what you haven't got is a consistent approach to recruiting. You're trying different things each time. So maybe thinking about then the structure. I always call them hurdles because we seem to think recruitment is about finding the right person. Okay, then just bear with me why I say it like that. Where actually what we want is the right person to put the effort in to come and join us. So it's a bit like the sales process. Yeah, and your SEO, people are now turning up because they want to work with you. So how do we change that then within our recruitment process so people want to come to the next step? They want to come through. And the interview to me should almost be, and multiple interviews, but the sort of final interview with you maybe should be the final, the icing on the cake. Yeah, you've achieved, you've demonstrated to us that you want to work with us. You've demonstrated to us you've got the skills. You've demonstrated that you've got some attitude. You've demonstrated that, yes, this is the right type of place you want to be. Now you get that final interview with Holly, where you get that sort of real understanding of, demonstrated to Holly that you want to work here, rather than the other way around. You're interviewing hoping that they'll want to work with you. How does that sound fit with you?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely something that I'm going to look to improve. And yeah, absolutely. I think the HR consultant said a similar thing. I'm exhausted from it. I think that's the
Yeah,
biggest struggle, is that when you
yeah,
have a couple of no goes, you don't want to start again. And it's
no,
really difficult to pull yourself back round and go, right, well, let's start again. So I think the team are going to take over and take control of the majority of it. So the idea of
yeah,
me doing the last interview would be really sensible.
brilliant.
We didn't test this because
Yeah,
CV was so amazing, and we tested verbally rather than actually with like a physical exercise to do. And I think
yeah.
that's where we need to improve, is to put that actual physical test back in
So
for the candidates.
So step one would be then the job advert. So within the job advert, we're not just saying, this is the role, do you want to come and work with us? What we're actually saying is, this is the job, this is what we do, this is how we delight our clients. Are you the right type of person that would want to do this? So you're asking them to think about themselves rather than you trying to attract them, turning it round with that type of thinking. There's no perfect one answer for that, but we're trying to change that dynamic to them going, yeah, I'm that type of person. I could work at iLex, rather than I want to work at iLex and get that salary. And yes, I can do those skills. So that would be the sort of first step. The second step, and people send in CVs. Why CVs? You've already seen that they lie. What else could you do instead of CVs? What could you be different in the marketplace?
Yeah. I like the idea, and I don't know why I've not adopted it for the UK, but when I put the job advert out in the Philippines for Marjorie, we actually asked them to record a video.
Yeah, I love that.
Tell us a little bit
I've
about yourself. Cut out some
Yes,
of the interview process by telling us a bit about yourself and why you'd want to come and work for iLex and what your experience has been, and just
yep,
see if we can get them to maybe cap it at a couple of minutes, or 5 minutes
perfect.
maximum. And also, I think when we were recruiting in the Philippines, the people that didn't do a video were instantly a hell no. It was very easy. It kind of cut the numbers down so dramatically. Whereas I suppose because I'm working with a recruitment agency, that's not something they've necessarily done before. So I'm kind of a bit guided by them. But then I need to remember that obviously recruiters are there to try and put a staff member in. And yes, they will obviously want to find the right staff member. But if I want a video, then maybe I should ask for a video.
Yeah. And you only want the CV at the interview stage. We're not even at inviting them to interview stage at this time. We're still at that sifting down. Do they want to do it? And the thing I love about a video is you've given somebody some definitions, some instructions. So now you're not just seeing a video, you're seeing, can they follow some basic instructions? So produce a video, send it to this website. It must be maximum of 2.5 minutes. It must tell us about you, and it must tell us about some of your experience. I don't know, you can decide what it is.
Yeah.
So now you're starting to see straight away, can people, is this person, have they jump over this hurdle, but are they actually thinking about that they can follow some basic instructions and produce something? The rest of it's up to them. So their creativeness then can come out of doing that. But
Yeah.
they'll only want to do that because your job advert is about telling them about the type of person that flourishes in your organization, and that they measure themselves up against that definition of that person. So therefore they want to do the next bit, which is then the video. Everybody else who doesn't, as you say, it filters that out. So a video can be a really good way of starting that filtering step. Then after that, if people get through, say, a videoing stage, and if a recruitment agency says they don't want to do that, well, are they the right recruitment agency for you?
No.
There you go. There you go. So after that step, the next step would be what? What would we do next? Because we still haven't got to interviews. We still don't want CVs. What would we think we would want to do next?
Would you grab a telephone call with them?
Brilliant. Yeah. A quick telephone call. Yeah. Because there's no body language involved. Yeah. We're just looking at people now. People worry these days with AI and all that sort of stuff. Well, okay. Doesn't matter. But a quick, 15-minute phone call. Yeah. Getting that feeling, but not you. Your team do it. So your team have a set of questions and things that we're feeling to start to pull out some of the bits and pieces that we want to check with these individuals. Okay. Then after that, it's a test. If you're doing testing for skill, test for skill. You've got to do that. And no matter how good these individuals are, and they think they may be, test their skill level. If the role doesn't have like an accountancy role or bookkeeping role that has specific skill sets behind it, test for other types of skills. Test for their capability for under pressure or organizational skills. And, there's lots of things you can find out on the internet to do those type of skill testing and understanding. Yeah. And I always go back to, but one of my friends went for an interview at Toyota and he got through various rounds and he got to the 4th round. And he had to do a skills test where they literally threw papers at him and he had to sort the papers and he had to put them into 4 different slots. And they started off just with a few and then 5 turned up and then 10 turned up and then 20 turned up, and then just building up the pressure just to see how well he worked under pressure. But how could he organize himself? Then they stopped and they asked him to reflect and to think about how he could make that process better. And then they started again. And what they were looking for were those people that A, can manage under pressure, but B, they were looking for people that can make small improvements to make their lives easier as well, which is what the Toyota production system is about. So you can use experiments, tests to test different type of skill sets that you're looking for within your team and characteristics. There's also psychometric testing, whether you agree with them or not. There's all these other things you can do to get a much more different understanding of somebody before you then decide the next stage of them. Do they come for an interview? Because the interview is the most valuable your time. So you need the best people turning up for that. So again, the interview could be done by your staff and your team. They should be interviewed. Everybody should be interviewing them, not just 1 or 2, all having a range of questions, etc. And then they all come together and agree. And then there's a final round, which is, as we said, they then come for a final interview with you, again, maybe with somebody else beside you. And so it's not just yourself, but you're then doing that final verification of everybody's feedback from that. So therefore, your time is valuable to the business doing what you need to do in the business. And then that last bit is the sort of icing on the cake when they've proved that they want to work with you and they're finally getting in front of you to have that conversation. How does that sit with you? What are your thoughts?
Sounds good. Sounds very long-winded, and I suppose I'm slightly panicky that I need a new member of staff, but spending that extra time to get the right person obviously is better than wasting my time. So yeah, I think there's lots of areas within that we could adopt. I'm guessing when you say all of the staff interviews, you don't mean all the staff at the same time, because that may be slightly daunting.
No. One of the best ones I ever came across is the Zappo story, which is the trainers selling online, and that was bought by Amazon. And there's a fantastic book about bringing joy into the workplace, etc. And they actually invented speed dating interviews. So each member, they met something like 20, I can't remember the numbers, something like 20 people, and they had 5 minutes with each person, and they had a set of questions, 1 or 2 questions, and some overlapped and some didn't, and etc. And then all those 20 people all came together at the end to give their feedback and thoughts about that individual. So there are lots of different ways to do interviews, but it's the more people you can get involved, the more you can ask those different types of questions and get that gut feeling from multiple people rather than just one.
Yeah, definitely going to do that. Definitely going to get some more people involved. It's going to have to just be a longer process so that we can really work out if this next person is the right person. And somebody suggested to me yesterday, maybe having them in for like a trial day. So
Yeah,
rather than
brilliant.
setting them up with their computer and everything, just we have a spare, what we call our admin machine, and they could come in and just spend a day with us and just,
Yeah,
just kind of shadow somebody or do a small task. I mean, it's quite a high position within the company. It's a head bookkeeper role, so it needs to be someone that's got lots of experience and isn't going to be scared to be thrown in at the deep end. So yeah, if someone is genuinely interested in the role, then I would hope that they could take maybe a day off from their current role and join us for a day just to test
yeah.
run.
And in the lean world that I'm in, and we discuss these types of things, across the world. So it's not always easy, depends on the country you're in, but they always, a really good lean company will always invite someone in for a trial day, and then they get feedback from everybody they worked with, and then they have a trial week. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I don't know how that would sit in the UK and the laws. I've always wondered about that. I've never really gone exploring it, but they have a trial week to truly understand it. And so that way they interact with more people in the business, and therefore they get a wider feedback of understanding of what they're like on a day-to-day capability before they even get offered it. So there are always these levels of hurdles that you need to put in front of people for them to want to come and join you, rather than the other way around, is you're just trying to sell your business hoping they'll come to join you. Turn it round, put it on them to prove it that they want to. And I think that's the real difference with recruitment that I've come across over the years to help. Brilliant, fantastic conversation. Hopefully you got some great ideas there to go and try, and you'll keep me up to date because we meet networking as well. So let's do our wrap up and close now. What did you hear yourself say today that maybe surprised you?
Oh, probably when you asked about things that have not gone quite so well. I really struggled to find something that had not gone well. I would say that just taking that moment to look back, I'm sure other people have said this to you as well, but taking a moment when someone asks you a question and says, what's gone well and what's not gone well? And you just look back over the last few years and think, oh, I've actually done all right. Just a moment to reflect. So yeah, that shocked me, to be honest.
Brilliant. And, over a 10-year period, when you look back, you've achieved so much. Yes, there were probably lots of really highs and lows amongst all of that, but what you actually remember is the success, and that's what you demonstrated. So really well done. So Holly, finally, how can people get hold of you and follow more of your journey?
So we're on social media, iLex Accountancy Services. We've got a website, lovely website. With lots of reviews, which are worth a read because my clients know that I am very black and white. So they're all very black and white with me. So yeah, just come find us, or you can give us a call. We're based in Maysmore. So we're Gloucester, which is 01452 260 950. You get to speak to the lovely Katie, who's our client relationship manager, and she would book you in to come see us. We love meeting clients face to face, but we will do things on Teams as well. So if people are not local, then that's absolutely fine. But yeah, if you are local, come for a walk and have a chat. Talk to me about all the things that go wrong in your world of accounts and tax.
Yes, come and see the ducks. Brilliant. Well, Holly, thank you so much for our conversation and being open and honest today. I know our listeners will get an awful lot from this conversation. Thank you.
Thanks, Granger. It's been great.
Thank you for spending your time with us today. We're on a mission to make business owners stronger together. If this conversation has helped you, please like, comment, and follow on whatever platform you're listening to. About 60% of our audience haven't done that yet, and these small actions will help us reach more business owners just like you. If you want to join in the conversation as a guest, or if you have a hurdle question for us to tackle, then reach out to us at info@strongerbusinesstogether.com. Now, make this week successful, and we'll see you next time. Cheers!